So, do you make resolutions? It's that time of the year. New Year's Eve has just passed by, and everybody makes these resolutions. Okay, they resolve that they are going to lose 20 pounds. They resolve that they're going to declutter their house or their sewing room. They talk about they're going to get out and get more exercise. They're going to eat better, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, how often do people actually fulfill those resolutions? I don't think there's a lot of people that do. Do I make resolutions? No. Why? Because I consider a resolution a promise, something that you make to yourself that you're going to do. And you probably don't keep your promise. I don't keep my promise. And then I feel bad about myself because I've let myself down, because I didn't follow through with what I intended to do. And then I get frustrated and then just say, well, crap, I can't do that kind of thing. So it becomes a defeatist attitude. So I decided a long time ago that I was never going to get on the resolution bandwagon. And I do have a resolution not to make resolutions. And that one I have always kept. Have never had any problem at all with that. But I think the pressure, and there is pressure to make resolutions because it seems like it is a thing that people are supposed to do on New Year's, right? I suppose it's because New Year's, the turning of a new year, gives us a new lease on life. There's hope at the beginning of a new year. It's like a clean slate. This time we can make up for all the mistakes we have done in the past year. But there are products out there to help us with our resolutions as well. I mean, if you go into when we could shop into any bookstore or department store, whatever, you are going to find journals for this year, and they come in all shapes and sizes, and they have pre-made sections in them for us. They start off with goal setting, for example, very popular. So what are your goals for the year? And they may have a little spot for you to fill this all in and pick your top 3 goals, what you want to accomplish this year. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing to think about, but the best laid plans of mice and men. You may have a goal that you want to reach and you're determined you're going to do that. Like, for example, you're going to finish 50 quilts. 50 quilts this year. Yeah. Okay. One thing is you got to make your goals realistic. Are they attainable? The other thing is don't be frustrated if you don't meet your goal, because after all, you set the goal for yourself. Nobody else set this goal for you. In fact, if somebody else is setting a goal for you, you might want to reevaluate that situation. So if you don't make it, you don't make it. You made a good effort at it, you tried, and you probably accomplished something. You just may not have gotten right to the finish line. That's not bad. Life goes on. You can carry it over to another year. Nothing says you can't. In other words, if you set a deadline for yourself to reach a goal and you don't make it, you're going to feel bad. It's going to affect your emotional level and your mental level as well. Don't do that to yourself. There's enough pressures in life. Now, within these little journals too, they may have you break it down into steps. What do you need to do first? What do you need to do second? And I'm all for that. I love taking large projects and breaking them down into smaller components because I find them less overwhelming and more manageable if you do that. And I think that is a general philosophy about setting goals in general by those people out there that are so-called, life coach experts or whatever for this kind of thing. Break it all down into smaller steps that you can see an end result very quickly with. So, for example, you're doing a very complex quilt. Do it one block at a time. Start with choosing your fabric, then cut it, then start putting it together in little pieces. And as quilters, we know about breaking down a large project into smaller components because that's really the nature of quilting, is it not? So, back to these ideas about resolutions and organizing them in a journal. Now, some journals get carried right away. They try to organize your whole life for the next year. They have calendars, they have lists you can make, they have prompts to get you to reflect on things and whatnot. And if that works for you, fine, use it. It doesn't work for me, and I've tried them. I have tried many, many different journal formats in my time. And I always come back to one simple thing, and I mentioned this on my vlog the other day. I'm a list maker. I make a list. I have a little sheet of note paper beside me. In fact, I've designed a very quick set of little note papers. I just print them out on my computer, and they have the heading Things to Do. I used to have one that said things to do for the year, things to do for the month, things to do for the week, things to do for today. Yeah, that got too complex. I just have one little simple little sheet of paper. It's about this big, and it says things to do today. And when I get up in the morning and when I, get ready for my day, I sit down by my computer and I write this out by hand. I don't actually put it on my computer. There's something about writing it by hand that I like. I don't know what it is. And I just brainstorm. I kind of list, okay, these are the things I think I would like to get done today. And as I get them done, I check them off. And it gives me a good feeling, a feeling of accomplishment. That is as far as I go with making plans. Now, if it's a really large project, I will sit at my computer and I brainstorm with myself, and then I break it down to smaller components and I write it all up. But that's usually for things like when I'm planning an idiot quilter retreat, for example. That all comes from my days as a teacher, because that was basically how I wrote lesson plans or units of study. I would break down a large project that was going to take, several weeks to do in school to teach, and break it down into its component parts, and then organize those and, by what I want to do first, what I want to do second, and all that kind of stuff. So I've applied that technique to other things that I do that aren't related to being an educator, now that I'm retired. But my simple little, and I'll show it to you. Here's today's. I'll just pull it up here. There it is. That's all it is. Little list of things I need to do. Now, I can add to this list as the day goes on, some things I may have forgot, because, I'm older now, my memory's not so good either. It helps me stay on track, because you know how you get this idea and you go, yeah, I need to do that, and it goes in this side and comes right out the other side, right? I have a piece of paper that when it comes out this other side, it goes on the piece of paper. That way I don't forget. Now, what happens if I don't get through my list? No biggie. I just carry some things over to the next day. It's a very simple system. It works for me. Now, some people want to get into journals in a big way where they basically keep a record, like a diary, of what they've done every day for the year. I tried that. It lasted about a month, if it was even that long. I just found I was forgetting and went, oh yeah, shoot, I forgot to write in my journal today. Well, I'll double it up to the next day. Yeah, no. It became a task that obviously if I was forgetting to do it, I didn't want to do it in the first place. That's the way I look at it. So I didn't. What's the big deal? One year I actually bought a really fancy journal, and it was a bullet journal. And it's sort of like making lists, except you have stickers and you use colored pens, and they can be very beautiful. They're very arty. If you're somebody who can draw and stuff, you can doodle in it and make it really, like a sketchbook kind of a deal. I can't draw. And I did try to fancy it up because that appealed to the scrapbooker in me to a certain extent. So I had colored pens and I had little fancy stickers and things. I even designed some for myself to personalize it even more. And I tried for a year. And then I decided partway through the year that maybe I should be making this more like a running scrapbook. So when I took pictures, I'd print them out from my computer and I'd put them in little pockets that I got for this thing. And there they were for the month, and I had all that. It wasn't a bad exercise. It still took some time, and so I'd fall behind. I did keep that. I don't have it anymore. When I changed this room over, I was brutal. I gutted everything and I threw it basically away. Because I wasn't looking at it. Didn't look at it at all. So that's what I'm saying. You have to find a system that will allow you to maintain it, whatever works for you. But this is all part of our resolutions. I'm going back to resolutions again. We all have this big idea. I'm going to keep a journal this year. Well, good luck with that. Maybe you will. I didn't. So what I'm saying about this whole thing is we have a burst of energy on January the 1st. The holidays are over, the hubbub of getting ready for all of that. And for some people, it does create a certain sense of depression afterwards, after all of that. But for other people, I think the way that they subconsciously battle that depression or the after Christmas blues is to feel more or more, I don't know what it is, renewed. And I want to do something, and I want to do something important, and I really want to make a change here. It's a rebirth kind of idea. But that's quickly leaves, I think, as the year progresses. So this little discussion I'm having here, I know, is a little disjointed and it's every which way, but I'm hoping that maybe this will put some sense of comfort to you that, one, if you make resolutions but you don't keep them, that's okay. Two, you may make plans, but plans are made to be changed. So don't be afraid to change your plans. This is not a negative. It's possibly a positive because it shows how flexible you can be. So don't feel that because you've had to change a plan, you have failed at something. You have not. And the third point that I want to make about resolutions is keep them to yourself. Don't tell people what your resolutions are, because some people may hold you accountable. And do you really need that? Like in March, someone will say to you, hey, I thought you were going to lose 10 pounds. How's that working out? You know what they're really saying, right? So, and that might get you depressed as well. So I go back to my resolution of not making resolutions for all the reasons I've mentioned. And yeah, so I hope this is a great year for you, no matter how you plan it.